coming, especially on this crazy winter day. We're going to talk about glass ceilings left your life. If you feel like you hit a glass ceiling in your life, I've hit many. I have went backwards and forwards many times, but I keep going, and I've become a certified experienced expert on glass ceilings and breaking them and recreating them. So, but I'm happy to teach you here how to do that. And I can tell you, you see me now, but you didn't see me back when I started. And I changed jobs every 2 years because I couldn't keep anything consistent. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't find purpose. I thought I had to find something that I was passionate about when I landed in real estate, and I was excited about it because I can control my own destiny. But I piddled around in real estate a lot, and finally, when this book came out, one thing, it really changed my life. It changed how I looked at the world, and then I started changing my business and my life, and then I eventually talked to my wife, and we did the same thing. And lo and behold, turns here. So, but we're going to talk about leveling up your life. I'm happy to answer any questions. This is going to be hopefully interactive. I do have a material in there, but we will go through that a little later in this training. But I want you to think about everything that we're going to do here. I do in my life daily. I'm accountable daily to myself. I literally have, I think, an accountability journal I use, as well as my team with huddles and other stuff like that. But I want you to know, one of the things we're going to learn the different keys to success, and it's all about one thing, but sort of my version of that. So thank you to those who are online. You should have the link to your workbook online as well there in your chat session. So, all right, let's get started. This is based on one thing. We have books if you want to sell. If you haven't read, who read the book? No. Well, this is not really about success. Success is getting what you want, right? You guys all here because you want something and you don't currently have it in your life. And that could be multiple parts of life, financially, relationship-wise, right? It could be anywhere, or you're kind of on the way there, but you hit a ceiling, like, or you just changed careers, or you hit somewhere where the market turned, and now I have a ceiling, and now my ceiling appears to have dropped, and now I'm like feeling more pressure, and I can't do what I used to do. And what that is just you're hitting a ceiling. So, but success, and we're going to talk about what does it mean to how do you be successful? Literally, that's the definition class. If you're going to break ceilings, it's literally about how do I be successful? What do I do? So, and I want to. This was my aha. I thought I was all that in a bag of chips when I first started real estate. Heck, before that, I had a lot of arrogance about myself, and I did real estate for a long time, and then I did real estate for about 4 years, and I was a pretty good agent. I was doing about 20, 30 deals every year, and I wanted to be bigger and bigger and bigger. One year, holy moly!
I made a dent in the wall.
My God!
And like, it's so
That's the day.
I'm here, guys.
So,
Embarrassing at all.
you might have heard the story. I went to, I decided to be bigger. I was like, and I noticed a lot of agents, just like you see today, where they had teams and they were bigger. And I was like, you know what, screw this. I want to make a team. I want to be super big. And so I hired all my friends to come in and do this. And it went well. I did 71 deals for about 15 million in volume that year. But then because I still did all the work, I worked like incessantly, nonstop, make this goal happen. And then I realized my friends were just hanging on and they didn't do much and I did all the work. And because of that, I paid them a lot of money and didn't do anything, and they didn't do anything. And I ended up ending that year, closing 15 million in volume, over about $500,000 in income, and about 30,000 net profit, which you don't spend a lot of time at home because you're working so much, and you bring home $30,000 the whole year. That leads to a rocky marriage, right? So I ended up with a kind of rocky marriage toward the end of that, and I was in a not good spot, both mentally, relationship-wise, money-wise. And I went to a coach. said, okay, I give up. I'm tapping out. I admit I'm not all that. What do I need to do? I said, John, you're a great salesman, but you need to understand success leaves clues. Like there's other people that have done this and been highly successful. And that if you just listen to what they say, you will actually have the same success. Oh, that seems stupidly simple. And it was a big aha for me, and I want you to know, but those who conquer on one thing at a time will advance in this world. And I was stupid. I remember thinking this when I was a new agent, like, this is so stupid. Who would think that? But I can tell you, after 15 years in this business, it's really the key to success. It really is just one stupid thing. But success leaves clues. So what do we talk about that? If success leaves clues, and this is true, if everyone has the same number of hours in a day, why do some people get much more done than others? Does Parm have more hours in the day than you do? So she gets more done, right? So you can look at CEOs and all these other people who are highly productive. They have the same amount of hours a day, and you can say they're working more than you. But I can tell you, Amethyst, you work a lot.
Yeah.
You put a lot of hours in, right?
I do.
Right. I put a lot of hours in, right? Rich and my team but we're doing less than Parm. So what the difference is everyone has the same number of hours, and everyone is working hard, but there's a difference. And why is that? It's because they do different activities. They choose different things to do every day than what you're choosing to do every day. And that's really the key to success. I actually looked up the stat. Hold on. I looked up the stat. How many people, percentage of the world population is actually millionaires? Anyone want to guess? 10%. Exactly, 1.1% of the world population are actually active millionaires. 1.1%. So think about that. At 1%, that means you need to be 1/100th of the population. That means out of 100 agents, you need to be the one. You need to be the one. And I can tell you, you do that by going small. That means ignoring all the things that you could do and doing what you should. It's recognizing that not all things matter equally, finding things that matter most. It's the tighter way to connect with if you do what you want. It's realizing that external results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. There's no truer example in our office than our OT, Michael Soares. He door knocked Natomas for 30 years now. And he's done 150 deals every year since I can remember. If you don't think that's focus, I can bring him here and he can spend 30 minutes talking about how to knock a door properly, right? If you don't think that's tight and going small, then you'll realize success happens in the small version of things, right? It's when you focus on one thing that really happens. My aha, where I had huge success, I narrowed my concentration to one thing, or my success varied, my focus had two, my focus had two, right? So think about that. If I'm trying to have too many irons in the fire, if I'm going too wide, then nothing happens. And what happens is when you get super focused, your life gets clear because everything else becomes a distraction, right? That's your super focus. And maybe it's not, and maybe you need to figure out what that focus is, and we'll talk about that. Any ahas from the first part of the discussion? Anyone want to chime in? Anyone have personal experiences? Anyone experiencing glass ceilings? Yeah. You're swinging the new agent glass ceiling, right? So some of you have been in, Matt, you've been in practice for a while, Amethyst, you've been in practice for a while. Like, are you feeling any glass ceilings in this market?
Any glass ceiling in this market?
Are you
I'm still trying to like get my bearings as to like what works.
Okay.
So like I've dreamed and kicked about doing database stuff and I'm finally working on that and it's actually making a difference.
So if you're working on your one thing, you're starting to see momentum and we'll talk about that. So that's a good segue. The domino effect. This is important. This is true in life and this is true about success. Success happens in like a domino effect. So you gotta first push over something stupid, small. Stupid small, right? And it could be I'm gonna talk to 3 people in my database a day and get their correct information, and get it into company. It can be literally stupid as that, right? But you'll see when those actions add up over time, what happens is you get the next domino, the next domino, the next domino. Each domino has enough power when you push it to knock over a domino double its size. That means if you actually line up a bunch of dominoes and increase the size, you can actually, if you push one, it has enough momentum and force to knock over the next one. And if you actually make this geometric projection, you'll see it get bigger and bigger and bigger. In fact, by the 57th domino, you'll hit the moon. If you just double the dominoes. This hockey puck curve you see is how success works. First you start it. It's okay. It feels okay. You know, it's not what I want. I don't want. And then suddenly you'll see it break and it'll have great momentum. So what I'm going to tell you is most people who struggle, especially new agents, is they can't get through this. They don't have the patience. They don't have the commitment to get through this. Right? But
It takes a while to get through that.
Yeah, it just takes a while. You can, and I'm just going to let you know, you will have milestones like, you know, you got the pizza, you got, you know, Mount Everest. You will get transactions. It will happen, but you know, it's going to feel rocky. It's going to feel inconsistent. It's going to feel, and I just want you to note that. But success is on the other side. And when you look at why the biggest agents have made this transition, is because they never gave up through here.
You always said that it's like a hockey stick.
It's always like it's like a hockey stick. That's how success looks like. And I can tell you, I'm addicted to it. I love it. Even when I have to, something happened with the team when we just started. Even this shift on my real estate team, I said, hey, look, we're going to treat it like we're starting here, because the habits we needed to be good during the last market is different than the habits we need to do in this market. And that's making us go here. Right. And we had to shift here. And I said, look, success is going to look like this 30, 60, 90 days down the road if we change the way we do our activities. So that success looks like that. And you'll see that in just about every significant. And I'm going to say this, and this is a ha for me: extraordinary success is sequential, not simultaneous. What does that mean? That sounds very theoretical, but what does it mean? It means that you can't knock over more than one domino at a time. You may try. How many of us have multiple things to fire? Like I'm talking to an agent yesterday, like I've done 15 deals this year. I feel like I've been doing database and open houses, and I want to do more than 15 next year. And I know what the market's going to be harder, so I think I'm going to try internet leads. That's what she's, and she's like, is that a good idea? Should I go and success is not simultaneous. Success is sequential. What does that mean? That means, can I find agents that are just doing database and doing more than 15 transactions? Can I find agents that are doing 15 that are doing just open houses and doing more than 15 deals? Absolutely. So I said, don't go wide, don't do multiple dominoes. Just try to knock over bigger dominoes of what you're doing, right? Get better at open houses, get better at your database, right? Do those more, do those better, and you'll have more success. So success is always sequential, meaning you can't skip steps. That means if you want to get to where Michael is or Parm is, you can't skip all the pain they went through, the dominoes they knocked over to get to that domino that you see they're facing right now. You can't skip those steps. You have to be sequential. Now, here's a trick. Don't worry, if that makes you frustrated, don't worry. You can't go fast. So the amount of time it takes you to knock over a domino can be very quick. You can go fast, but you can't skip steps, and I'm going to want to know that. And the reason is this: is the habits, the language, the knowledge you have, the experience you need to be where Parm is. I can put you in Parm's place with Parm's team, and you succeed the same level Parm does. Actually, you probably would fail because you don't have the mistakes, the experiences, the leadership skills, those things that you need to be in that position to knock over that domino. Now, I want to note that and don't look at us. A lot of people look at us and say, "Hey, wow, you know, I can't get there," or I just need to be John, or I need to be Parm, and I'll have it. And it's not that way. It's we were where you were. We just had to
we're just far away because we've knocked over dominoes and we learned skills and experiences and other things like that you don't have right now that you need to learn. And most of it's going to be habits. A lot of the few things, the first three things that can be successful with habits, and it sucks. It's going to be like consistently generated in my database. You know, it's going to be stuff that doesn't sound so sexy. You know, and if it's helped, it may be like this, you know, I'm just gonna go for a walk every day, or I'm just gonna drink, you know, a gallon of water a day, something stupid like that, but it all starts with something
Small and repetitive.
small and repetitive, and that's what mostly struggle, is why you see the why you see the hockey stick is because it takes a while for you to get the habit going. And then when you get the habit going, you're right here. And then because it takes a little bit of time, you know, real estate to get deals going, because you gotta, now I'm talking to more people, now it's gonna be here. Right, so, all right. The other key is success is built consistently. It's one thing at a time. So let's talk about that. If you notice, all businesses that are highly successful have one product, one service. So let's look at this. What's this? Who's this? What do they do? I think they're a search engine, but what do they do?
Well, yeah, it's masqueraded as that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a free service, so they can
You can really have that, but what is that?
everything.
First.
Wow.
So,
Fruit cups. Really from fresh, I'm actually
Fresh.
surprised.
what about this? For beverages.
They do everything.
Were they?
Books, magazines.
Still. So why are they different than Amazon?
See, and that is 2009.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's still, Barnes and Noble still gets most of the business from there. And you realize is Barnes and Noble is made their niche by being opposite, right? They're
Yeah,
opposite.
it's-
We're not online in business, we're community.
Yeah.
We're books, we're stay here and read, have a coffee, right? And peruse books, right? At a level that you want to, right? And so, they found it.
And everything. Online sales.
What I want you to note is every business that does a thing at a high level, they do it. They do one thing really well. And they focus on that one thing. And in real estate, you have one thing. All you need is highly good at one thing. And so I want to talk a little bit about lies. These are lies that people have that carry you, that will stop you from being successful. Getting on that hockey stick path, you need to get over these lies. Everything matters equally. Yeah, I hate this lie. Vexes me hard. Everything matters equally. Now, I can tell you, everyone today, I'm sure you're already thinking about it, what you need to do today. I need to do this, I need to pick a kid, I need to go to the grocery store, I need to make this, do this appointment, I need to, whatever. Right, you have your list of things, but everything doesn't matter easily. In fact, most agents who struggle is they think everything matters, or they prioritize in things that don't matter. Not everything matters equally. The success isn't the game one who does the most. It's actually how to play it on a daily basis. It's not. The game isn't to check the most boxes. The game is to do the right action on a daily basis. Achievement always works from a clear sense of priority. That's not much. This absolutely is. Clear sense of priority. If you do action and think about your day, there's one action that coach used to do. This will do it. But essentially they give you a big long list and they say, write down exactly what you're doing every 15 minutes. So you set your alarm goes off every 15 minutes, you write down exactly what you're doing. I'm browsing the internet. Work on my contract and this, and you'll see. You don't work from a clear sense. This is literally an exercise on why you don't work on a clear sense of priority. So if you want to see how clear your priority is, make a spreadsheet, you have set your phone every 15 minutes during one day and do it. You can do it over a day or two and see and write, just don't judge it, just write down exactly what you're doing when that alarm goes off. exactly what you're doing. I don't care if it's like playing a game on your phone, right? Whatever. If you write it down, you will see how you don't operate from your sense of priority. And we talk about that same 24 hours everyone has. And that's the difference. And you'll see it lost in those 15-minute increments. Right? And that's what I wanted to tell you is people who have high success is because they're very clear on those priorities, and you'll see their 15 minutes line up beautifully into their schedule. And the good part about that is where freedom happens. A lot of people are scared about this because they feel like they're going to lose freedom, but actually gain freedom because you get to choose exactly what you want to do. You don't waste it, but you actually move your goal forward. Now, who's seen this before? Pareto principle. 80% of our results happen from 20% of our effort in real estate. That really most of you are going to be the issue is lead generation. But lead generation is usually your biggest thing that you do that will lead to 80% results. Honestly, if you lead generated 6 hours a day, you think you would be a mega agent in no time. Yeah, right. That means if you did nothing but try to find people who wanted to buy or sell 6 hours a day, would you be highly successful in real estate?
Yes, we get burned out.
Okay, if you did 2 hours a day, would you be highly successful? If you did it 30 minutes, would you be mildly successful?
Yeah. Anything consistent.
Right? So we talk about priority and choices, right? And I just asked you if you did 30 minutes a day of lead generation, would you have good, decent results in real estate? You just all told me yes. So what is really stopping you from being successful? What is your glass ceiling? It's your choices, literally your choices. Your daily choices and what you do in this 15 minutes and that 15 minutes and the next 15 minutes after that. It's those choices and understanding that the activity that you need to be doing most of your 15 minutes on is your 20%. And you just told me I could get my 20% done in 30 minutes a day. Yeah, maybe an hour a day. Actually, I'll do an example. Denzel is an agent in our office. He just met his goal this year. He did 25 transactions. He actually is getting his master's degree and working part-time. So he is very methodical. So when I first talked to him, he was struggling because he was doing about 5 to 6 deals a year. And he was like, John, what are you guys doing? What do you do? This is how you got a high level of success. And I go, what do you do in your real estate? And he is kind of this whole, they did internet leads and stuff. And he's like, I got these leads and I'm sending them texts and emails and automated all this stuff, but I don't have a bunch of good business in here. But and then you have to talk. That's great. You set this all up, but you got to talk. So I said, hey, can you talk 5 a day? I said, just 5 days. I don't even say 5 talk conversations. I said 5 calls. It's 5 phone calls. If they don't answer, that's fine. 5 phone calls. He said, John, I can do 5 phone calls. What's my dedicated real estate per day? I said, okay, great. He's like, I'll do 10. He did 10. That next day he called me and said, John, it's wonderful. I have 2 buyer appointments in the listing. That's fantastic. I said, just do 10 a day. He's like, okay. This last year, 2022, said, I'm going to dedicate enough hours to do 10 calls a day and enough to do appointments. That's it. And he did that and did 25 transactions. Why? Because he got he realized where his result needed to be. And does he not have a life by design? He's going to school and going and working too. Does he choose to? And he literally says, these are the hours I'm working my business period. And decide that. And because those hours that he works on is where he puts his 20% that is needed to make his 80% result, he gets it. Okay, so this is successfully concluded. Right. So let's have a little bit of discussion here. What is holding you back from your 20%? From having that habit, and having you doing it every day.
Staying consistent with my one thing or my few one thing.
Okay, so what's stopping you from being consistent?
Nothing right now because I'm beginning that.
Okay.
Like farming the new neighborhood. So I have everything planned out for the year, so now I just have to stay
This is-
on task of what I've written out for my year plan.
What are you guys are new? What are you struggling with?
Procrastination, I don't know, I simply don't know what I'm supposed to do as a new agent, I just started and I'm like.
Where do you begin?
Exactly,
Oh, what do you think it should do? What do you think? It should do?
I have no idea.
What do you think it should do? What do you think?
I know what my goals are, I know what my 20% are. And I think my biggest thing is I give myself really big goals. And I think I need to start smaller.
Cause then if you make it too big, you get like lost in the weeds of it.
And then it's discouraging, so starting with even just like, Dennis said, it's 5 calls and then to double it's 10. And for me, it's like, I'm time blocking 3 hours out of my day to make some calls. And still not making like even just 10, because I'm going to track.
Yeah, so it's kind of smaller until you do it, and then maybe you can just add one more
Yeah.
until you do it, so you don't burn out or overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not about time, maybe it's about, I just make 5. I found it better for me if I just put a number, I said 5. I haven't got to the point where I was lead generating for real estate, and I said, I just want 1 appointment. And I would just call and said, I want to make calls, so I get 1 appointment. And then I realized when I did that I needed more numbers. I ran out of phone numbers so people would call. So what I started doing, I started lining like open houses on the weekends, so then I could get more numbers. So it sort of transition for you. Do you see the steps it takes? You need to make a commitment to something in that 20%. So even if you say, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm telling you right now, success is the same. I just told you it's one thing. I said for agents, it's really if you're, unless you're at a certain level on your team, you have to be a high level team to where lead generation is not your number one 20%. Period. And so even for new agents, I can tell you guys, like, you told you, I'm sure in classes that you've heard lead generation distinct from calling your database to open houses to getting cold calling or door knocking. You've heard all these activities, you've gotten strips around them. The biggest difference is you're playing because you don't want to commit to one thing.
And it is hard
You're
to
not
find the
used-
thing you like.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hello, John.
Okay.
Good morning.
Why?
Just wanted to let you know that I'm ready to put much more effort on for more clients, making more phone calls, updating my database and stuff like that. I got plans to go to the extra mile. So you can count on that on me.
I like it.
Thank you.
So, and that's another thing we'll learn is how to set your goals and be accountable to your goals, because a lot of it's hard to be consistent. That hockey stick is hard to get through without people helping. But I want you to understand that, like you said, I block 3 hours a day, Janelle, but are you really spending 3 hours? No, right? And so when you talk about those, everyone has the same hours in the day. What's the park right there? What's the difference? The park does? You walk around checking your mail on the phone at the same time, right? So do you understand? And then when you understand, so John, how do I find you that on the calls? If you're committed to making the calls, you'll start thinking about activities to do to get more numbers to call. Right? And then I was running on numbers, and I started open houses, and I realized I didn't get a whole bunch of numbers from my open houses. So I got really good at getting contact information on the front end. I got really good at handling objections, so I get more contact because I wanted to, and step by step, my business got better and better and better. Right? Yeah.
a lot of that too, from my experience, that the 2080 applies to different, like your lead gen, but it's also your conversations, it's like the better you become in your skills, the more you're gonna focus on that 20%, and that's just how to convert people. And then
Yeah, because you get better at it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go from maybe like 20 to 1, meaning out of 20 people get 1 solid leads, and you improve your skills, you go down to like 16, 12, 10, 4 to 1 ratio. And at that point, you're like, I'm really maximizing my efforts, and you can live that life by design and have that additional time. But it's also tough too, because you kind of get caught into that multitasking.
Well, So you have a should this, you should do this, extreme burnout, you should take all the way to one. So we all have things we could do. How many of you have demands on your time from you, yourself, and other people in your family are expecting you to do certain things?
You all should read
Like, even show up for dinner, right? Still at home, that's the one, right? You know, those things, that you should do. And you really shouldn't say, but there's really a few things that you really should do, that's really the most important. And if you really thought about it, there should be one thing, extreme, we call this Pareto principle, this guy who's a mathematician, his name's Pareto, lesson Pareto. He found out that 80% of landowners, 80% of the wealth in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. And then there was a guy who went to Ford and he figured out Ford Motor Company, and he figured out that 20% of the management and leadership in this in Ford were actually generating 80% of the profits. And we should just get rid of the other managers. They did and got high profits. Right, so extreme Pareto for you is if we can get down to one thing, not just 20%, we don't want you to be a 20%, you be a 1%. Remember all those 1%, why don't you be a 1%? And realize millionaires, there's 1.1% of people are millionaires in the world. So I am asking you to get extreme. I ask you to be a 1%. I'm asking you to be a millionaire. Is that okay?
Yes.
Are you okay with that? I'm just checking.
All the way there.
I'm with it. Okay with that. Okay. Instead of a to-do list, you need a successful list that is personally created around extraordinary results. I cannot stress this enough. I literally have a list of everything I need to do. Well, I have time blocked my one thing, and then I have an additional list of everything that I need to do on that day. And once I finish my one thing, I prioritize that list based on what I should be doing, not what other people need me to do. This is what I should be doing. And I tell people all the time, John, you're having to get hold of blah, blah. I go, that's because I work on things I should be doing. And because my world is defined by what I need to do for me and my family. All right, multitasking. Lie number 2, who's great at multitasking? Multitasking is a lie. So if you're doing the most important thing, right? If we agree the most important thing is the most important thing, then why would anything else? I try to get it. We already know what's the most important thing. Why should you be trying to do something else at the same time? It's the most important thing. Because if there's one thing, there can't be two things.
Actually good at not multitasking for work and focusing on the one thing, but when I clean my house, I'm like all over the place.
There's like a difference. We think like you want to give your full attention to your one thing, you know, whereas if you're doing multiple things and you break it down to 2 things, you're like a ratio. Then you're bringing 30% ratio. Last we know, bringing it down to school, you're failing something below that. So
Yeah. One thing, and then you can multitask the day. If you did your one thing every day, you can multitask the rest of the day and you honestly. And live in your
Well,
loving
that's what
life.
you're supposed to do, right? Is figure out what you want,
One thing, yeah.
One thing, and then get that knocked out.
So in 2009, Clifford Noss, he was out of Stanford, his mission to find out the so-called multitask. I'm sure they had a secret ability, but it turns out high multitaskers are suckers for irrelevancy. So we found out they were outperformed on every measure, although they convinced themselves the world that they were great at it. There was just one problem: multitaskers were just lousy at everything.
you remember you guys getting a conference.
They were lousy at everything. On average, people are interrupted every 11 minutes. That's 43 interruptions in an 8-hour day. You get interruptions.
I'll say like
Yeah, because I'll like be like, oh, what's going on?
It's everything. So is your phone an issue?
Yes.
Heck, I even bought this stupid Remarkable pad that cost me like $600 because it's an electronic pad you can take with that on a lot of paper. And I liked it because they said, oh, it's connected to the internet. And I go, yeah, I can upload notes, but it doesn't receive notifications. It doesn't do any of that. It's just only note taking. Like, why would you? Because I found in my meetings, if I was sitting there taking notes on my tablet or something like that for my meetings, that I would get distracted. And that would make my meetings less effective. And that means I recruit less. that if someone that's I'm going to recruiting me and talking about why you should join the brokerage, and I'm looking at my notifications the whole time, how are you gonna feel? If you're doing listing presentations and things and you look at it while you're talking, or you got your phone on and you look at it while you're talking, how does it make the client feel? Right, so. If you do that for your listing presentations, why wouldn't you do that for your one thing? If you don't do that to your clients, why wouldn't you do that for your one thing? Right, so. Think about this, you need to make sure that you are removing distractions and interruptions. And multitaskers. They actually create distraction. They say, I want to stop doing my lead gen and check that email that just came in. Or respond to that text message that just came in, right? About this escrow. So how many thoughts do you think you have each day? On average. Your brain's going pretty strong, right? Pretty strong, ding, 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 right? On average, you have 4,000 thoughts a day.
I almost thought it would have been more.
You're thinking something different every 14 seconds. And have you ever sat there in front of your computer or whatever, and you're sitting there and next thing you know you're open? I know this is the person because they have like 15 tabs open. And I know, and I'm like, oh, they're multitasker because they just every time they have a thought, they open a new tab, it's something, right? They open a new tab, right? So
I'm not looking at all my.
right? And you were wondering. No, right? You're going down rabbit holes. You're embracing distraction, right? So look for these things that are in your life that are embracing distraction. Multitasking is a lie. And here's how it is. It's because we found that, and why you get more efficient is if you think about it, if you actually just got out of distractions and worked on something nonstop, you would actually finish it much quicker than if you switch and distract, because your brain doesn't work like that. When it takes a switch, imagine you have to switch, you're working on something intense. I'm writing this offer, and now I have to, do something else, and now I have to switch again. What happens when you go back? You're like, oh, where was I? You have to look over the offer real quick, and like, oh, I have to go back to this part. Okay, yeah. Right? Think about that, right? So every time you switch, you're losing, your brain has to reset and go back, and you're losing a bunch of time doing that. And so, and this is like, how many of you worked on something where you're going to go on vacation and it has to be done?
Oh, you get it done.
You get it done. Okay, no distraction, leave me alone. I'm getting this done, right? And count it out, and boom, like you're done. And before it would take you all day, you counted it out. That's the power of multitasking. And I want you to understand that. So how does you get more done? Because she does this.
And it's tough too, especially with these interruption it's definitely.
Oh, I'm parts really militant about her distractions.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, in general, it's tough.
I think they'll knock it up, shouldn't respond. How multi short circuit is there's just so much brain capability at any one time, divided up as you want. The more time you spend switch to another task, less likely you're to get it back. And you bounce between activity and another thing, this time your brain orients to new tasks. There's millisecond data. Researchers estimate we lose about 20% of average workday to multitasking. You want to get back 30% of your day. Now let's talk about what's 30% before 30% 8 hours. Yeah, 8 hours a your day. 8 hour days is lost multitasking. Now you gotta sleep. So third is gone. You're supposed to work and supposed to play. But essentially you're losing third, so if you're not doing any activity because you're multitasking, you're way to ineffectiveness. So highly effective people, they don't multitask. They work by priority and they focus their work on the same activity.
That's a really cheap that.
What's that?
That extra time, when everybody, we all sign up for real estate, like, oh, we're gonna get extra time. We're gonna get extra time, more flexibility.
Isn't that the
How do you truly own your business and work it? Like,
Wow,
no.
But you can.
You can't.
You can't, which takes time, like if you think about, you start working at 9, if you're a lead gen, your follow-ups, you could be done by 1 or 2, depending on, then you, from that point, you're like, either I go on tour, I go on list appointments, or
I'm on. And I can tell you,
Yeah, oh, I find spot, you know, like, oh, yeah, I was.
no, but I literally set up my team that way. I got to the point where I was consistently calling. I didn't even do hours of time for several hours. So many times. I was like, that's stupid because I'm multitasking in the middle of it and I didn't actually get, so I held myself to the amount of calls I made. And then I started like, well, that's stupid. It's actually how many people I talk to. So I started holding myself kind of to the contact, and that was tough, like actually talking to them. And then I finally went at the end toward, you know, if my goal is really to get an appointment, why am I just gonna park an appointment every day? Even if it didn't pan out, even if they couldn't get reapproved, maybe they canceled and changed their mind, whatever. Would you not be highly acceptable? Would you not be highly acceptable? You said one appointment a day. Yeah, I would have said in the pattern, right? So once I did that, then I was like, okay, all I'm gonna do is call to get one appointment. And then, you know, the first time you took 3 hours to get one appointment, that really sucked. I said, man, I need to get better at talking to people because I don't know where to do 3 hours. And then I got good at where it was about 30 minutes to 45 minutes on average to get one appointment. Because I got good at talking to someone.
But you know, it falls out.
Yeah, and so what happened is like I made my skills better because I wanted to spend less time. You think that's not control? I can send an appointment a day, I have 30, 45 minutes a day. My lead gen.
But then behind, we're gonna say, oh, you did 1 in 30 minutes?
That's pretty sooner after that. Sundays it was 2 hours, Sundays it was the first call, right? Sundays it was the first call, Sundays it was 2 hours, but that was freedom for me because I was like, look, it could be the first call. It literally could be. And if it's the first call, I got the rest of this time free. I could choose whatever. And literally, I ran my team that way. I would call, we'd call from 9 to 11, we do follow up from 10, 11 to 12. And if I didn't have appointments in the afternoon, I left. I did crap on training, different activities, all that. That's really what I did. And I didn't worry, trust me, it's super free. Even if you don't have appointments that afternoon, it's super free if you just know you did your work because you know the pipeline's there.
And that comes with time. You know?
It doesn't come with time, it's a habit. It's a habit. And yeah, I can tell you the habit progression, right? First, I'm good at just blocking the time. Do the work. Getting that work efficient. Then I had to work on, okay, how many calls I'm gonna make, how many contacts I'm gonna make. And that's a commitment. You'll know once you start doing it. Like going from calls to contacts is a big commitment. It's saying, I'm not just calling people, I'm actually gonna have to talk to people. That's a big difference in the amount of time and effort I'm gonna put in.
Easily to scale.
Line number 3, that we live super disciplined lives. John, you must be super disciplined. Hardcore. I'll say the truth is, you don't need any more discipline than we already have. We just need to direct, manage it a little better. I'm just gonna say this. Why some people think this is weighty, it's heavy, like I can't do this, is because you think it's more than that. But if you just told me if I lead gen 30 minutes a day, that you would be successful. Can you discipline yourself for 30 minutes a day? Can you do something non-distracted for 30 minutes a day? All right, so if you do that, if you tell me you can do that, then you have all the discipline you need to take the first step. Literally, all you have to do is choose. That's the beauty of this world. The reason you got into real estate is because you wanted more freedom. You said, I want more freedom. But really what you were saying is, I want to choose. I want to have the ability to choose what I do with my time. Right? That's what you were, that's a lot of you get into, because I want to be able to choose what I want to do with my time. Which is fine. You can literally choose 30 minutes a day or an hour a day. And you would honestly, as doing, even if you did an hour a day, you would be capped. Hour a day. You did it consistently 5 days a week. And all of us have it, and then it's now to do it, because I've seen you do it when you've gone on vacation. I've seen you do it before. All you need to do that is daily. And it's not going to look great daily. Sometimes you're going to fall off. But if you're consistent at it, you'll see. How long do you have to maintain the discipline?
Forever.
We've studied it takes about 66 to 120 days to get a habit fully integrated into your life. From dieting to exercise to lead gen. Takes about that. So why do you see a hockey stick? Do you notice? It's a reverse hockey stick. So once you get more consistent, your habit, what happens? Your success. Get it? So success is intimately defined your ability to get your habit formed. So when you're new or older, I'm gonna say, what's your glass ceiling? 90%, 95% of your glass ceiling is a habit you don't have right now. The habit you don't have. So, you know what that habit is. If you're new, you just need a habit of some lead generation. I don't care. I don't care if you go door knock. I don't care if you go. I found out I door knock and I don't like it. And then you know, it's raining. I don't want to go. And it's hot and I don't like door knocking. You know, I figured out. I don't know. I figured that out. I was like, man, I'm not gonna go out there. Think about all of Sacramento and the whole weather pattern. Would you go out every day? No. Would you go outside every day? Would you go outside 90% of the days? So I think agents think about this stuff too much. Well, think about that. If you're going to cold call, how much rejection are you going to get?
It's not giving you a lot of rejection.
Yeah. In fact, I knew a serial cold caller did well. You probably need 100 contacts for a couple of appointments. You need probably 200 contacts to make an actual deal happen. But what I'm saying is, you're going to get 199 rejections for every one yes that works. So think about that. If you're a cold caller, can you handle FU 99% of the time?
Well, you better be able to if that's your thing.
Right. So when you talk about trying to figure out things, if you can't handle that, if that's too much on your personality, if that's going to hurt you too much, it's going to make you want to quit. Then think about those things. Yeah.
But even then, you know, it's like, our job is, yes, we're getting more no's to get that yes, you're getting more no's, you know, to get that. However, as long as you maintain your eye on the prize, as in, the reason why I'm doing this is because on that other side is what you're looking to achieve. So just focusing on an outcome is gonna give you the ability to overcome that negative, where you know, sometimes you could be like 20 calls, and like, I'm just tired of this, hang it up. But then if you give up, that's not gonna give you what you want to achieve. So you always gotta make sure, like we all know, keep your eye on the prize.
I also, we'll talk about happiness a little later in this thing, but happiness is very important for you guys. I'm gonna say your personality and how you show up as a person. It's very important to match that with how you want to lead gen, because you're gonna feel like it's a strength. You're gonna feel like I can make this happen. Like I just need to learn this. I'm gonna be on the way. So you know yourself. If you're outgoing, that means you like to talk to people. Live with the standard. You like to talk to people. Would your preferred activity, if you wake up in the morning, is just talk to as many people as you can and make a lot of people and make happy and make relationships? Then you're probably going to want face-to-face activities. So you really should work in your database. You should really work at open houses. You should network. Join some clubs. Why? Because you like to talk to people. If your job is, I want to do my work and go home and not see people, then you're probably more internet leads or cold calling or farming. Because I don't mind rejection. I want to talk to a lot of people, and I don't care if I gotta mind 200 people. You get one. I don't care. They can happen. If that's what I gotta do, sign me up. I'll get that down. Right. So I want you to think about that. Is I know you said I'm trying to figure it out, but you know yourself. In fact, when you launched the new agency, when you went to coach and you did the KPA, they said this is what you're like. I'm sure your coach suggested that you should be doing. Right. So
I say definitely, I'm gonna ask you how they find that, and it's like, and I know when I first started, I had conversations with you, and you're, you know, a lot of times we think we need to work on our weaknesses.
yeah,
I remember you're like, no, double down on your strengths.
double down on your strengths.
And everything's told me that's what I did. I said, you're right. This
Trust me,
catch up.
you want to feel happiness? You know where people feel most happiness? Market. There's a level of happiness you get to if you can pay your bill.
Yeah.
They found the base level happiness is that if you're not worried about your month-to-month payment of your bills, then you will have a base level of happiness. That's it. And it doesn't move, no matter what you do, even marriage, relationships, it doesn't move until what? One thing that makes it move after you pay your bills. The next thing that makes your happiness move. Feeling passionate about your work. And where do we feel passionate? When we are doing something that are in our strengths, or we feel we're good at that. I can tell you, you can work on your weaknesses all day long, but they will never be your strength. Now, you do have to work on some of your weaknesses if they're gonna, I call that the nuclear option, means their weakness is so bad that it just causes a nuclear situation, like drugs is a nuclear situation. You gotta take that, right? Because that will like throw the whole thing on, right? But if you're negative, if your weakness is I don't eat best all the time. Well, that's not likely going to derail you. Maybe derail you for years, but it's not going to derail you immediately, right? So, but think about your one thing. So think about your personality. If you're really cold calling, you don't mind, then your personality that way. And if you're not getting results, then you need to find people that are getting results. Figure out what do I need to say to them.
Think about like you guys were in grade school. How did you learn best? We always utilize what you know that stuff, even if it's in the past and then later, it's still how do you learn?
Yeah, if I like to learn by just watching things and watching videos and I can pick it up, you're probably more a grinder. If you want to be in a teacher classroom, because I learn better, a teacher, I need that interaction, I need that relationship, I want a mentor, I want a coach, I want that, then you're probably a more personality person. You're gonna be fine. So we already told you what are the likely things if you're an high personality.
I don't remember what I am.
Oh, they.
Yeah, like my strengths in real estate is open houses, getting relationship building, networking, calling my sphere. So, and that stuff, makes me happy, so I do that, whereas if you pick me, a high D is more of like a door knocker.
If I put him in one of our offices with no windows, and I said, here's the phone book, call and say this script 200 times.
That's a nice.
Look, I know that this, she shot it, he'd be dead with kind of with a minute dog. He'd be done, right? So about that. So think about what your strengths are, what you're good at, and go toward that, right? So.
And every behavior has a certain type of legion that you can, that you can find that's gonna like, be your D's, your I's, your F's, your C's.
And even if it's your strength, is it gonna be hard?
And should we do a class based on that? You take the disc profile and then
Oh,
you get led into what works
Yeah.
for your personality
We want
profile.
to say, take this, here you go, here's what works for these personality profiles.
Well, because I mean, they're saying they don't know what to start with, right? So maybe that's like some guidance.
Well, they do this,
Personality.
they do this in both kinds.
And this profile, I guess that for me, the more I learn to focus on that, the more to improve my conversion, because now, think about it. If you're to talk to somebody that's just like you're connecting with 1 out of 4 people. You're at 25%.
You have to
Whereas if you
connect
learn
with all of
to,
them.
yes, talk to every behaviors, the person who walks the open house club, walks right in, you're like, that's an asshole. I don't want to talk to him, but if you know how to.
Just like me.
But it improves your conversion, it's going to be progressive.
Yeah.
It's, but you tend to convert who your personality is. Actually, I know because the agents that are more, I find rough and hard with me, they tend to have harder transactions because they find clients that are rough and hard as well, right? And they harsh them all the way. Yeah. So just know that you attract who you are. And so a lot of the growth that happens, and we'll talk about this, is you have to grow. Like you said, you have to grow. You have to become different most of the time. So this is a big lie, and this is a lie that I struggle with a lot because I think I call energy all the time, but I can tell you at 46, it's not a lie. Doesn't it? So you won't even know this. You don't
I
have
wish I would started this at 19.
willpower is like gas in your car. When you resist something tempting, you use some up. The more you resist empty your tank, it gets until you run out of gas. So even you use energy. If you're doing your regen and someone texts you, like, no, I'm not going to respond. No, you're going to do my regen. It takes energy. It literally takes energy to say no. All right. And that's called discipline, right? Your brain is 1/50 of your body mass, but it consumes 1/5 of your energy. So just know, it's funny. I'll tell you the vending machine. So everyone comes to us because they tell me, we need more healthy options. Like we need this and this and this, and then we put them in there,
Nobody buys
No
that.
one
Preach, John.
In there, and it sounds like water and cells. And the cells gonna happen in the afternoon. Why? Yeah, because you did your work and now you're like, and I worked too much because I'm just multitasking and I didn't get enough done, so I worked too much, now I have no will. I just want some food and I should not eat that, I'm just gonna eat it because it's eating food. And I can't say no anymore because my brain's low on willpower, right? So. We have this a lot.
Why is it gotta be bad for you?
Sensitive that willpower is a mental muscle that doesn't bounce back quickly. If you employ it for one task, there'll be less power available for the next few to do. So I just want you to know, every time you work on something, you have less and less ability to do that highly focused work. You're gonna be less able to maintain that focus. That's why we tell people lead generation first thing in the morning. But we know that is probably the poorest time to call people. Right? Because they just started work. Are they likely to take your call when they just started work? What would be the best time to call? Right? But none of us call because why? You're really gonna go home and ignore your kids and ignore your family and not cook dinner and regenerate?
Yes.
You have to cook it on something.
Why didn't?
We really have to feed our minds with goodness and credence for the old saying, food is free God. So I want you to know this, one of the default things we have, one of the real challenges we have is when we're part low, we tend to default back to our default setting. So I'm gonna say this. The reason people can grow, but when you're under high stress, low willpower, you're in a bad situation mentally, emotionally, you tend to default, meaning all those habits you built, they kind of go away and you default back. Have anyone experienced this? They're on a diet and it fell off, right? They did it for a little period of time and it fell off when you're bad. So I want you to know these things you built, that the things that you got, your brain that you have, that was from your DNA and from your childhood and what you got brought up and your parents and all that gives you a base default setting. And right now you're sitting in this room because what your parents gave you, that default setting is probably not good enough for what you want to achieve in real estate right now.
What is happening?
They're trying to show off. They want to do 25 push-ups 4 times a day. So, just so you know, so you go back to your default settings. So the more you can stay in willpower, the less likely you fall off that habit training. And this is very important. It looks like this. You start in the morning, and then it goes to your morning break. And so if you lead gen, and your lead gen takes time and effort, then you're going to be down here, and then and the day. We found this only goes up if you eat lunch. We found this is maximized if you eat some breakfast. That'd be big. We found that eat lunch, if you skip lunch, you won't bounce back up, you'll stay down. This is big for me. That's why I literally schedule lunch on my calendar. And I bring lunch, make it super easy for me because I will skip lunch if it's not available to me. I will literally just skip it. If I skip it, then my afternoon just looks like horrible. Now, all I'm asking for you is discipline to do this. So really, you don't have to eat lunch. All you have to do is get through the morning. But if you want to be 1% of the population, you want to be farm, she does this. Because if I'm doing appointments in the afternoon, I need to be good at my appointments. And if I want to be good at my appointments, then I better have my energy up. Because I know 70% of the conversion rate at my appointments are going to be about energy. If I show up excited, if I show up with energy and enthusiasm about selling their home, 70% of the time, that's most of the time that's going to work. Just that. I can have a horrible presentation, but I can show up with energy, I'm going to get it. But I know if you're living a lot.
You live in a lie that says you think you're gonna perform just as good in the afternoon as you were in the and you think you are. The worst part is you go through the day and you think you are, but just ask the people running, you're not. You're not. And if you really want to convert at a high level all the time, then you have to manage your time. It will power the time of the day. So I say time block, times to reset your willpower. A balanced life. Who wants a balanced life? Heck, you've gone into real estate because you want a balanced life, right? The truth is, a balance of funk is an unattainable pipe dream. The quest for balance between work and life, as we come to think of it, just as a moving property, is hurtful, destructive one. So I want you to know this is work-life balance is what everyone thinks. I need my work and my life, and it's nice in the middle, and everything's pretty. It doesn't work like, and more looks like this. If you work a lot, your life kind of sucks. Your personal life kind of sucks, right? And if my personal life is rocking it, my work is kind of sucking. Does everybody agree? You see these patterns in your life? Okay. You need to read a kind of balanced life. That means you just know there are times when you're going to have to work. There are times it's easier. And I'm just going to let you know, in our real estate market, 2020 to 2022 were easier market working. You are order takers, you were service providers. And now it's going to require more work for you. But if you time block your time, you work on priority, you will always have your life in you. So just know there are times in your business and real estate where you don't have to work that hard and it's easier. And there's times in your business that you're gonna have to work extremely hard. And as a new agent, you have to work extremely hard. You have to put in the time, because you're gonna have to make a lot of mistakes, do a lot of open houses and figure out what's wrong. And go back.
Build your database.
Build your database and build your habits and build. Yeah, you have to do it. And so it's going to take time. Now, like I said, you can go fast. If you put in 10 hours a day, it's going to go pretty fast. If you put in 2 hours a day, it's going to go slow. It's going to go slow. So, got it? Same with you guys. You need to leave the countdown stuff. So, okay. Imagine life is a game in which you're juggling 5 balls. The balls are called work, family, health, friends, and integrity. You're keeping all of them in the air. Oh, one day you finally come to understand that work is like a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. The other 4 balls, family, health, friends, and integrity, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it'll be irrevocably scuffed, nicked, and perhaps even shattered. I want to note this: there are some balls you can't drop. If you drop, it's going to change for the rest of your life. I can tell you, like I told you, I went through that rock period with my wife, got pretty bad. First, I was still bad. 2 years. But I can tell you what happened, scuffed our relationship for the rest of the life. That means it's always a pain to my wife, that time period. If we revisit it, it's still painful. It makes her less want to trust, less want to see me work more, right? Make sense? And so you got to understand some of these balls can't be dropped. And if you're dropping them consistently, just know you're scuffing them all that long, and these things will destroy you. Big is bad. Is anyone afraid of big? If you're a big, it's called megaphobia. Mention big with achievement, and their first thought is complicated, time-consuming, difficult. You guys are talking to me like, I don't know where to start. I want to be big, but it's complicated. Feel overwhelmed or intimidated, right? Feel it? This market could make you feel intimidated or overwhelmed. It makes me feel intimidated sometimes. Right? So that's saying big. I'm thinking about things like, I need to get bigger this year. In 2023, how do I grow this market center? When agents are leaving in droves, how do I grow this market center? To me, man, that sounds like a lot of freaking work. That sounds complicated. It's intimidating. Literally, feel those things. So you can say big isn't bad, but when it comes to doing the work, sometimes you are afraid. And when you allow yourself to accept that big is about who you can become, you look at it differently. I'm gonna say this. It looks like a lot of work, it looks intimidating, it looks overwhelming right now, it's because you don't have the skills or the habits, the mentality to handle that right now. But guess what? When you go for big, you start learning those habits and things. That's why I say you can't skip dominoes, is most of the dominoes you need to knock over are not actually achievement goals, they're habits and they're skills and knowledge you need to learn to get there and experiences you need to have, right? So on the journey to achieving big, you get bigger. Big requires growth. By the time you arrive, you're big too. So this is key because you are going to be matched to the level that you need to match. So this is what most people are. I just want to do all my clients. But you want big, you want to be a millionaire. This is why 1% of people are only millionaires, is because they're span of control. They have a big team. And this takes leadership. It takes habits, personal discipline. Right, we talk about counterbalance, right? Understanding where I am, like what skills I need to do, how I'm growing consistently. Those things are important, right? So if you want big control. So you need to shoot big, because if you shoot small, you're only going to get smaller. And in this market, you'll get small lists. So you shoot big, it doesn't even matter. If you shot for $1 million and you got 200,000, are you okay with that? If you shot for $1 million and got 300,000, are you okay with that? Shoot big. All right. How to build a big business? Build a great small business and let it grow big over time. Don't start big. Remember that big thing? I built it big. I just made it big, and then it fell apart. And I made $30,000. Don't build it big. Make a great small business, and it'll grow fast. All right. The truth. Let's talk about starting the truth. Be careful how you interpret the world is just like that. I'm going to let you know. Truth is relative. You can see politics today. I don't care what you believe. It's politics, but you believe whatever you believe is the truth. And does that make their truth wrong? Well, you're viewing, but it doesn't matter to them. You feel like the truth. So just want to know your perspective is always the truth. The focusing question. So here's the clear way according to the focus that matters. What is the focusing question? What's the one thing I can do? So by doing everything else will become easier or unnecessary. I want you to at least ask yourself this question within your real estate business. What's the one thing I can do? So by doing everything will become easier or unnecessary. That means if I did this, real estate would be unnecessary, irrelevant. What would that mean? Okay. What can we define?
Yeah, lead generating, talking to people, asking for referrals.
Okay. How many times?
Sometimes.
How many are you gonna do a day? Want to talk to people? How many people are you gonna talk to a day?
Wow.
So your one thing is if you talk to 5 people a day, Amethyst, would everything in your life become easier and necessary? Will your finances be better? Is your relationship better? Is bringing consistency? But Lou, come on, respond. Lou, what's your one thing? One listing point a week. So how do you get one listing from you?
I call a day, 10 calls a day,
Who are you gonna call?
out of it.
You have enough?
200.
So if you call 5 people a day, 200, how much is that? Gonna be 20 days? It'll last a month.
And then after that, I get to get more. Check for referrals and. open houses.
Okay, so if you're one thing that's 5 calls a day, then that's fine, but you need to think about what that entails, right? What's the one thing you can do, such by doing everything else is necessary. I tell you what, every time I come to a problem in my business, or I'm at a roadblock, or I'm at a glass ceiling, I ask this question. What would the world look like How would I change this whole world? How would I not feel intimidated, confused, overwhelmed? How would I not feel these things? What would the world have to look like? What would I have to look like to make sure that isn't the feeling I have right now? What's the one thing I need to do? So by doing that, everything else becomes irrelevant. And if I'm a new agent, all I say is, I'm gonna pick this thing and I'm gonna work it hard. I'm gonna pick this lead generation method and I'm gonna work it hard. In fact, I'm gonna be the expert in the office. I'm gonna school every other agent in this office to do it so well. I'm gonna know every ins and outs and scripts and injection handlers for that lead generation technique that I'm gonna kill it. If I did that, would everything in my life become easier and necessary? Probably. So I want you to write down in your book there, what's your one thing? What can you do?
Do we have a specific page, like
Oh, yes, we
on,
do.
or what are we?
Yeah, we're gonna go on for everything.
Are we starting at the beginning now? Or?
What's that? No, yeah, so I just want you to write it down, just on like where I said one or something, what you want to write down, we're gonna go through this and you may want to change it by the end. So just write it anywhere in the front, what you think is your one thing.
This is all real estate or is this all personal?
Anything. Actually, we can do what matters exercise, so. On exercise one, what matters? What are you passionate about? What's your one thing in life, in business? Things you want to accomplish, health, finances. Those of you online, what's your one thing? We're on Uncover Your Purpose, on page 5. So I want to go over this. Sorry. What's anatomy of this? What's the one thing I can do? So what's one thing I can do? Such by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary. So if I lead generated and I made a listing appointment a week, no one to do. Would everything become easier or necessary? Yeah. She'd be like, well, I still have to do the listing agreement and I do the escrow stuff. But I was like, you're doing a listing appointment a week, could you not hire someone to do all that work? If you're doing this point a week, yeah, that's 52 listings. And maybe you took, that's 40 listings. Maybe you didn't get all of them. It falls on that's 30 listings. No joke. If you actually did your listings, you get hired. So it's more like 50, 60 transactions. Did you hire someone? Yeah. So yeah, that would work. If she did that, everything would become unnecessary because
Yeah, and it makes it sound so small, right? Like, oh, just one listing appointment a week, and then when he breaks it down like that, you're like, that's a lot.
no, yeah. What's it going to take to get a listing? Well, if I'm going to do open houses, okay, fine, but that tends to check buyers, so I need to check sellers. So if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to have to make my open house more seller focused. The only way I'm going to get sellers there is I'm going to maybe do a special, if that's my own listing, I'll do a special open house for neighbors on Friday. And invite them. But that means if I'm going to buy them, they're going to mail them, call them, and door knock them. Probably all three. Yeah, to get attendance, right? Yeah, or maybe I'm just going to do open houses and I'm going to attract neighbors. I definitely have to door knock or at least flyer drop to get neighbors there. If I want to get listings, I probably should do open houses in the same neighborhood so I get name ID. So when Janelle starts thinking about how do I get a listing appointment a month, she said, I'm going to call 5 people. That's great, but she's going to run out of people and she's also going to run out of sellers. Because you don't need folks on market, you need folks on market.
There's still a lot of things that you need to do your one thing.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is we're gonna break it down, but your one thing may be super simple and I want to keep it super simple. It may not be one listing appointment a month, a week. That may be, I need to do an open house well each week.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, and maybe I don't want to do the second level, maybe I just want to get five. I want to get in the habit of doing a 5 5th level open house every week.
Wait, what is the levels? I don't know about this. So a whole other-
Hold on. Yeah, 7th level is just door knocking, cold, circle dialing, there's levels on how many signs you put on. But yeah, like, I'm gonna do an open house really freaking well, 20 signs, 2 major intersections. I'm gonna door knock the neighborhood, I'm gonna flyer drop the neighborhood, right? I'm gonna make sure I get sellers there, I'm gonna have stuff at my open house that talks about sell on buying, contingent sale. I'm gonna have comps displayed in my thing, so people who are sellers look at the values of homes in the neighborhood, right? I'm gonna orient all I talk about is show to sellers, right? Get more sellers.
You want the neighborhood.
I want the neighborhood like this because they're the ones that own homes. Right? The buyer won't come in that has a house, so I'm not saying that won't happen, but that's less likely to happen if you just want to sell. So think about all those things. Like, I want you to take your one thing and make it simple. So, and then you're going to do that for each of these. And I can tell you a lot of these categories I don't do well. My spiritual life, I'm a non-spiritual guy. But I've learned to meditate on that. Actually helps. Finances, physical health, business, job, relationships, personal life. Are you happy? Are you happier? If you're not happy, what was the one thing you can do instead of doing that? Everything else will become necessary. Easier and easier. So if you're new and you're struggling and say, I'm confused. What's the one thing I can do? God said I should regenerate. Okay, if you called 200 people a week, do you think you have an appointment? Can you call 200 people in 1 day? 2 days? 1 day. Okay, so you can do all the lead generation you want. Just in 1 day. 4 days. All you're doing on the other days is follow up. So I just want to show you the simplicity of this. But even yours is going to be somewhat on a full call. You probably should have it out. You're going to need to sign up for a service that provides phone numbers. You're going to have a headset. You're going to have a bullpen where you're alone and not distracted, right? You're probably going to have to get good scripts. You're going to have a script practice component to that because you're going to realize I'm not going to get it if I'm not going to practice scripts. Do well. Right. So I want you to understand these things, like take your goal and really break it down. What am I going to have to do to get that done? And that will be your tasks. Those will be literally your activities, daily activities. And it may be one. This job, team leader job, has been havoc for my health. I used to do super health. I would do triathlons and marathons. And I regressed from that. I literally went to my coach and I'm super frustrated about my physical health and my weight. I'm super frustrated about it. I was ranting to him. I was like, but I don't have time to run. And even if I ran right now, just because I'm so unhealthy, I would like hurt myself. Even at 46, I would like cause an injury to myself. I did it consistently 5 days or even 7 days in a row. And he's like, what's the most simple thing you can do? What's the simple thing ever? No. I guess I could just walk. If I walk, I won't hurt me. Just walk. I started walking. So I can walk. I'm super frustrated. Started meditating more. Think about things when I'm walking. I got some therapy. Started jogging. Started running. And it was a step I had to take, but it's really simple. Okay. So in your book, exercise what matters, top things off your head. Let's 4 to 5 specific activities you're passionate about. Want to be real estate. And why? Your job. So think about work, family, community, hobby. And second, say 4 to 5 outcomes for those. So these could be related to work, Don't overthink it. If you feel stuck, whether or not you're passionate about something, skip it for the now and move to something that does sound out as important. So what is important? What makes you feel good in your life? It could be, I want to invest in real estate. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a mega agent. Heck, I just want to pay off that debt. Right? That would make me feel awesome. Right? Family. It'd be great if I could take my family on vacation. It'd be great if me and my wife's relationship was this, or me and my significant other's relationship was this, or it looked like this, right? So we work, the big thing is you gotta work from a purpose. That will give you priority. And when you have priorities, then productivity is actually doing the activities to meet your priority. Right? I know it sounds super simple, but as you can tell, it's hard. It's not easy. Super simple, but not easy. You got your things in number 1, page 5. 4, 5, 6 that you're passionate about. What matters to you? Okay, list 4 or 5 outcomes that are passionate about. These could outcomes. So, what do you want these things to look like? Show up like? How do you want them to show up? It could look like this. Like outcomes. I am a capper. I did 12 transactions. I paid off this debt. My wife and I went on a date night every other week. Right? Whatever that looks like. My relationship with my spouse is this. My health is this. I am at this weight. I'm exercising this often. What does that look like to you? And I'm just going to say, don't judge your insides with other people's outsides. Just know most people that you see have productivity and profit, they're sitting, it's like an iceberg. You don't see their purpose and priority. You don't see it. Makes sense? So the people that you see are highly successful and you're like, wow, man, they're just productive and profit, it's because they're starting with purpose and priority. You just don't see it. You didn't see what they did and the habits they did to get there. So.
Yeah, you see them making it look easy.
You see
don't know what
this part, it's above the water. You don't see this part that they did. And what we're teaching them to do right now is you have to do this part. This part will make that part happen. Right? Okay. Live with purpose. What do most people want from life? Happiness. Right? Think about your emotions, achievement, engagement, meaning. You want meaning in your life. Engagement, relationships, achievement. These things are feeling important to you, right? So think about when you're writing these, what would make you feel happy? And most times it's going to be relationships or achievement, or I have a high level of engagement, or my job has meaning to me. My work has meaning to me. And most of the time, I view real estate really as a tool. I love real estate, don't get me wrong, and I love doing the activity, but I really like the results it gives me on my personal side. It gives me the ability to go on vacations with my family. To give my family opportunities that I want, to invest in real estate, right? All the things that I'm really passionate about, it gives me those opportunities. So think about it gives and because of that, it gives real estate meaning to me, and it gives me happiness in my job because I know this job will give me the vehicle to achieve everything I want in life, right? And it gives you meaning and happiness. So I want you to understand when you're talking about these incomes, I mean, these outcomes, you talk about what matters most. So figure out circle the one activity, that outcome that means the most to you. Remember that your rational brain is not very, don't think about it, just go with your instinct. So what I prefer you pick your real estate one, since it's real estate class, but you can pick one passionate activity that is if you want to. So. And say, what's the one thing I can do like doing it in this world, such that doing everything else would be easier or unnecessary? What would that look like? What will make you have a lot of emotion, pleasure, achievement, relationship, engagement, and meaning in your life? Trying to think, what's your one activity? Hopefully, let's take your real estate one, since it's a real estate class. If your one activity in real estate, you said you're going to do, that'd be awesome, your outcome, or your outcome activity, so. What is it? With that, now your purpose, you don't have to call it close friend. Incorporate that to your purpose. What's your purpose? Why do you want to do this? What's it gonna bring for you? What's it gonna do for you? Who you're gonna be? It could be your family, it could be achieving financial goals for you, that makes me happy. It could be a relationship. In fact, a lot of my purpose is who I become. I want to become such a leader that we attract every realtor in the Sacramento area that I want at this work, I can attract by being that leader. Not even just reach out to others, attract. How would I be that person? That makes me excited. Right? I can tell you, you need to run from purpose. You need a purpose. Heck, I don't care if it's money related. I don't care if you say, I want to be a millionaire, because that will make me super happy. I don't give a frick. But you need to figure out a purpose. That means something that gets you up in the morning, makes you come to work, makes you want to work on this. It makes you want to do your one thing. What's your purpose? Anyone want to share theirs? Online or purpose? We're on page 7.
I'll share mine. Mine is a new one since I've moved, and I already kind of touched on it earlier. So my purpose is to become the neighborhood expert realtor in my new neighborhood and to build community.
Oh, that's awesome. But that makes you happy. I know that.
Well, yeah, that'll make me happy. So it's like mailing pieces, door knocking, but only specifically to the gold farm that I was provided by title. So focusing on these 120 people in addition to like my already going database and sphere of influence. But like I'm doing client events covered in with all of that, and it's inviting these people to the neighborhood to it. Like I live right by a park, there's 2 events.
Now you're gonna be pretty soon to be mayor of the neighborhood.
And then I'm gonna do my roller skating thing as my first thing, so it's like meeting at a place outside of the neighborhood but close for the first time. Then the next 2 events will be in the park that's in our neighborhood, and then the last event of the year will be actually at my house.
But why do you want to do that?
To build a community, you know.
Why do you want to do it?
Well, it's gonna give me business. But
Why do you want to do it that way?
it's because then you build like real actual deep relationships, it's not because it's on the surface. I guess so, yeah, I can't do like fake, like, I don't wanna do fake one-off things, I wanna actually build real connections with people.
Okay, so
That are
your
meaningful.
purpose is like, yeah. My purpose is I want to build real connections and relationships through my real estate business.
Yeah, like, I don't wanna just like do one deal, like, oh, here's a referral, here, do this one deal, and then that's it, like, I want to be able to like build a real, true friendship and professional relationship at the same time, and like, that's just the beginning of that.
Right,
Exactly.
that's that beautiful journey, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, your purpose is I love doing real estate. I want to do real estate because I want more meaningful relationships with people in my neighborhood and my database that I love, and that brings me happiness and joy in real estate, right? Does that say how she's doing lead generation that lines up with her strengths, lines up with what makes her happy?
And it took me a long time to figure out my things. Like,
Well, most of the time it's if you don't know yourself.
I tried all these different things, or I tried to door knock, one time, like, it's like, this is different now, I live in this neighborhood, I do want to door knock, and I feel like I'm not gonna feel weird going to the door after I send pieces of mail and all these things, and I'm coming with a value item, like, come to this event, like, it's taken me a while to figure out my way of doing
What you want to do.
these simple things.
Yeah, these simple. Yeah, that's what.
And the combination that works.
Anyone else want to share the purpose? Everyone's scared.
Well, I'm still scared. All scary.
Sure.
I mean, me, the reason why I want to do real estate is to, which is what I'm already starting, is finding different connections that can lead to other passions.
Okay. So what does that look like for you? So what do you mean? Show me an example. Or something you would like that. What kind of connection do you want to make? With who?
People like you, people that are doing the type of success that I'm trying to get to that I'm not at yet.
Okay.
That's where I'm trying to be. Like, for example, I'm really into cars. I love supercars and I love them. I go to car shows, I get to meet people, they tell me what they do. Some people they work for PG&E, some people are contractors and all that, and it's like meeting these people that provide different things. Like I was at an open house with Kai a few weeks ago. We met this guy who does what is it, loans for renovations and everything. And we talked with him for about 45 minutes and got to see what his side of the business is, and he got to learn a little bit about us, and we exchanged numbers and all that. So if I ever have a client that needs funds for renovation but doesn't have it, I don't know what to call, I don't know what to refer to. So the building that.
So the answer is similar. You want to create meaningful relationships with high level people.
And things you have in common with them, like the car show thing's a perfect place.
I can tell you like Michael and Taylor, who of course, they love cars. They own classic cars. They have a car show here.
They don't do it anymore. So we're-
Yeah. But they do.
It was fun though. But why couldn't they do that? Could they do that? And do it?
But I'm sure if you did it and said, can you guys show up and bring your car, I'm sure they will.
They did Cars and Coffee, it was every second Sunday
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah,
and
it
it
was.
was a pretty good turnout, you like start to sit there thinking, was anybody gonna come? And then tons of people would end up showing up, and it was really fun.
Would you like to? Because
All the people get coffee and donuts, and all the people came.
so take your passion. I want those. I want to create relationships with high level people in the areas that I'm interested in. Fine, great. Then do it, but do it with a real estate benefits. Right?
Yeah, like how do you, so you're gonna throw that event, but
How do you make
How
sure
are you
everyone knows you're a
capturing-
real estate agent?
yeah.
Yeah,
Info.
Yeah, how are you capturing the info? How do I make sure they understand? I don't have to push it in their face. But how do they know I'm a real estate agent? I'm there to help them. And I'm passionate about cars too. So that's why I say is take your purpose and nuance it, right? Like, what are you really looking for out of real estate? It's not about real estate itself, it's about what you're trying to achieve in your life through real estate, right? So. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Okay, you want to say? Oh, man.
I think for right now, I'm still trying to figure out what I want. But I think the better I can do is to mission and generational wealth.
That's very, I love that. That makes me happy, that motivates, right?
Because that's what you.
Yeah, that's my head, it's like, I want that generational wealth, I want my kids and my grandkids and everyone to feel, I want the whole family to be different from my point. Right? That would make me super happy. Yeah, change everything. Yeah. Okay, so what's that look like? That means, well, you need to get serious about real estate. Because we know wealth takes time, right? Opposite? So you're probably gonna have to have some habits, probably have to talk to a few people. You have to get super serious about your business. You can do it in real estate. Heck, we have plenty of examples of that. Naturally, it's probably the easiest path to take, but you need to do it at a high level. So start thinking about, I want generational wealth, and that makes me super happy. That's my purpose. Great, write that down as your purpose. Then you're gonna talk about, now I'm gonna have to make generational wealth through real estate. How do I do that? How much money would I have to make every year? How much would I have to grow every year? If I want to be a millionaire, I want to be 100 millionaire. What would that look like?
Have you already done that this year? So, I mean, I guess we were all in this first week of how you work backwards to your goals number wise.
Yes. So I already, we can do that, but yeah, I've done it. We started in October. Like my whole team starts in October. We start calculating numbers on next year, right? Because I need to know we're on path to what we're doing. I check in quarterly with our financial advisor, we talk about our network and what we're trying to do. Right, so now you may not have the money to do that, but at some level, I realize now I'm at a level where we have enough money out there. I need someone else watching it to make it perform at a high level, right? And so I need someone else watching it who's a professional that I can rely on. So everyone have their purpose. It's okay. I don't want to be not there. I'll live by priority, which is step 2. If you look on page 9, priority, you need to go, now we know purpose, you need to know your purpose. Your purpose needs to get you up in the morning. Means if I had lunch or dinner with you and we talk nothing about but that subject, we could have a 2-hour conversation on that subject and you would be ecstatic about that conversation. That's what your purpose should feel like. You feel like, yeah, that rocks. If I could do that, that'll make me get up in the morning. Want to do it. I'll do work all day long for that. All right, you gotta live by purpose. So planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Purpose has the power to shape our lives. Our own is only in the direct proportion to the power that priority is connected to. Purpose without priority is powerless. So we can have a purpose. I want generational wealth. But if we don't have clarity on what we need to do that, it's meaningless. Right? Meaningless. So we kind of went backwards in the analysis, but her purpose is she really wants to create strong, lasting, beautiful relationships and community with her people. And if she can do that through real estate, beautiful. I can win my financial goals as well as achieve my personal goals at the same time.
But then it's also helping others achieve their financial goals
Right.
too.
Yeah.
If you build this long relationship, you can show them how to invest the property and all those things, so it just like multiplies, and that's really cool.
So we started with database. She's going to do this, and that's her priority, but it's fueled by her purpose. The reason you want your priority fueled by your purpose is you will never go the 66 or 120 days that you need to get the habit going if you don't have passion behind what you're trying to do. You will never stick with it. You can try, and then you'll cry and say, I like discipline, and you have a lot of self-talk. But I can tell you, if you don't have purpose for time what you're trying to do, that means you don't feel passionate about it, you are not going to get the habit. So if you are really passionate about generational wealth, then run the activity that shows you what I need to actually learn. What you actually need to do today, every day, to make that goal happen in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever that looks like. You say, okay, yeah, I can do that. And if I did that every day, and I followed this plan, I would have generational wealth. Sign me up. I would wake up every morning and be there. Make sense? So we set goals and plan, be appropriate lives that matter. So time blocking. So if you go here, we talked about the iceberg. So benchmark and trend. Well, we're going to check on goals. So goal setting. Let's skip forward to page 12. So what's your 5-year goal? Well, we have your big goal, which is on page 11. Think about your purpose, which is one thing you talk about generational wealth. So this is your big someday goal. I want generational wealth. I want a beautiful business where I have community and life. I have this, I have this, or this. Write that on page 11. Exercise 2, set a some big someday goal. And then set goal for today, for now. What's your 5-year goal?
To set your one goal, what would it have to look like in 5 years? You want to achieve it in 5 years. Can you do generational wealth in 5 years? Ooh, that'd be tough. You can probably do it, but it'd be tough. You guys would be a millionaire in 5 years. Generational wealth will be able. Because you need time. You need time. But luckily you don't. 5-year goal. So now we take your purpose. What's your 5-year goal? What do you want your business or what do you want it to look like? What your life you want it to look like? Financially, business-wise, whatever. That would be a 5-year goal. 5 years from now, if my life looked like this, it was a home run touchdown. Like it was this 80-yard pass deep to the end zone, all the way. Got it. Perfect catch, in stride, all the way to the touchdown, winner, right? What would your life have to look like in 5 years? So for me, on my health side, I would love my 5-year goals. If I got the health, I would love to do an Ironman triathlon. And if I really want a 5-year goal, it'd be awesome if I did the Kona one, which is the championship one, which I'd have to qualify for. Epically hard to get to, but it'd be awesome. That would be freaking awesome. You think I remember that for the rest of my life? You think I remember that journey for the rest of my life? That'd be freaking awesome. So that would be like a 5-year goal. There's no way I'm going to Ironman, do an Ironman this year. Maybe I could, but I don't have the time. I have to get my schedule. To get to Kona, I'd have to either get a lottery in there or I'd have to qualify. So all so that's a huge time. That means I'm probably gonna have to try it for 5 years in a row, right?
You know what?
It's pretty harsh. Because an Ironman is, and I just, an Ironman is a 2-mile swim, 125-mile bike ride, and a marathon, 26 miles after that. It's crazy hard. Everyone got their 5-year goal? What do they want to look like? Okay. Now, based on that 5-year goal, what would you have to do this year to get toward that goal? What do I do this year? Yeah, it makes that, right? That's what I have to do. Nice. Everyone figure out the 1-year goal? I'm having trouble taking the 5 years to 1 year. We overestimate a lot of times what we can do in 1 year. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. That's fine. Yeah, I think so. We don't have to start. You don't have to start. If you want to do, remember, it's a sequential. You want the success. You can't skip down one of those, but you can go faster. One of the ways to go faster is I go bigger and faster. Not necessarily more hours, but like organizing car show. That's big.
And stick to it and do it all the time.
It's not one, but do it consistently and get other people involved that help support you. That is a big effort. That is a big effort. And do it consistently. And then do it so consistently, you're seen as a leader in that area. And that leadership and trust will translate to those. Right? If people trust you in cars, they'll trust you in real
They
estate.
see that you consistently show up and you actually are there every time, month after
They'll
month
trust you on
after
real estate
month.
because they know that you have the qualities and characteristics to do real estate.
You have to follow through.
Yeah, all the consistency. Yeah. All right, everyone got their 1-year goal? Now, if we had a 1-year in January 5th, right? January 5th, January, what is January to get on that goal to generational wealth? The farming that neighborhood. Getting that database right. What do I have to do this month? Oh, there you go. We do enough classes to that, most of you know. So if you wanted to start a company, what would you do this month?
So,
I think number one would be, I need to go try to talk to my competitor because they ran it. And I would say, hey, I want to do that. Can I take it over and will you support me? And what are the pitfalls and how do I make this successful? Right?
Talk to Bianca about it.
Yeah, talk to Bianca because Bianca ran it, right? And they say, probably talk to Bianca. And she said, here's all the logistics and how to pull it off.
There were some things I was like, if this were my thing, I would do this, this, and this, but it wasn't my thing, I just went for support.
Makes sense? Then it accomplishes two of my goals. One is I'm getting relationships with high level.
People with money,
People
they have
with
the
money.
stars, they got money.
And I'm getting high level persons with high level real estate too. That's in my relationships. So that's going good. So the first thing, maybe like I want to do a car show in February, but I need to get January set up. But then I'm gonna say, how do I take that relationships? How do I make relationships at the car show? And then also, how do I be purposeful about talking? And you're gonna learn, you're gonna, over time, you're gonna realize, how do I get the real estate message of the car show out in a subtle way, but also in big way? Right? It's a nuanced discussion, and you may flop it the first time. And make it better the second time, make it better. All right. Weekly goal, based on that month, what do you have to do this week? Week two, yeah, we're week one, week 2. What do you have to do this week, this coming week, the rest of this week, for next week, we do this. And then daily. I want you to look at that daily. What I have to do today, every day.
I just love that everything is always breaking it backwards down to the smaller steps. Because
Too
it makes
much.
everything so much more achievable.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that. The trick is how you say, you like my partner, John, things of that. You're doing this. What how do we do it? To make it super simple. To break down what we need to do every day to as simple as it can be and do that. And everything adds up, the generational wealth adds up. The beautiful life adds up. All those things start adding up because you do the simple things every day. And that's a super trick I want to tell people is most people think it's super hard or complicated or overwhelming or intimidating. And it's not, because most of the time, if you break it down, it's actually really simple.
Simple, not easy.
It's not easy because consistency, the person you need to be to do that simple task every day is hard. It requires consistency, focus, and accountability. All right. Everyone got to daily? Anyone have a scary daily? Anyone have a daily they want to share?
I mean, I'm literally doing it today, like I'm printing stuff right now.
Okay.
I'm sending out CMAs to the non-owner occupied in my new farm.
Okay.
And then I'm sending out to everybody else and including the non-owner by my introduction letter and all that stuff. So that's my daily breakdown today, is working on that stuff.
Anyone else want to share their? Yeah, what do you want to do today? Okay, how many? Well, 5 or 10. You like? Well, sounds good for you. Have you done any before? Yeah. Do you do it consistently? Really don't have that. Okay, why don't we just start with 5? Can you do 5 calls a day or 5 contacts? 5 calls or contacts? So. Well, you're gonna have to make more calls if you're gonna do 5 contacts. You do 5 contacts? Okay, if you talk to 5 people a day, Matt, would you achieve your goal? Would you achieve your monthly goal? Would you achieve your weekly goal? Would you achieve your 1-year goal? You talk to 5 people a day. Yeah. And that should be the other goal. 5 days a day. Every week is 5 days a week. I'm gonna talk to 20 contacts a day, a week. 100 contacts a month. 80 to them. Okay, I'm gonna say something on goals. You need SMART goals. SMART goals they're measurable. They have a deadline. SMART is measurable, sorry. Simple, specific, measurable. Attainable. Time. Reasonable. Oh, so T is time, which is meaning there has to be a deadline. So Matt is saying he's going to do 5 contacts every day, 5 days a week. Right, for 25 contacts a week, right? 100 contacts a month. Is that correct? Is that smart? Yeah, measurable, specific, simple. Right? There's a time deadline on it. So those are the things that you need to have on your goal. They need to be measurable. Yes.
Earlier in the session, you were talking about. Say you were doing those 5 calls a day and say that's still 100 a month. But you can also do that 100 all in one day. And have the whole month off. Is it? I'm trying to question it. But
It's your choice. So for example, 1 month, our goal is to, my goal in this office is to recruit 15 meetings. 1 month, it was, I remember it was like last year, like May 16th, I had the 15 meetings. Literally like 16 days into the whole month, 31 days, I had. At that point, well, and I take 2 weeks off. 15. You have the choice of that. Do you understand? So like, I could literally take 2 weeks off. What if I did that every month? What if I did 2 weeks of recruiting and I had 2 weeks off? Would that be a good life? What if I did lead gen for, like you said, 1 week a month, and the other 2 weeks I only did appointments and follow-up, but after that I did lead generation part for 1 month. Would that be awesome? But yeah, you could do that. It'd be super simple, discipline to do that. All right. But you could. Heck, if you wanted to, heck, honestly, if I was doing it and I had nothing, I would do something big. I would go like do a whole 100 and talk about it. Right, because you need something big. All right. Whatever your daily is, you need a time block. This is key. This is a habit. First thing you need is time block and time off, then time block for one thing, then your planning time. I can't stress this enough. You need to run your life off a calendar. I don't care if it's electronic, I don't care if it's on paper, you need to run your life off a calendar. You do not run all your life on a calendar, you're going to be multitasking, you're going to be distracted, you're just going to go all over. You literally, I can tell you, you can ask my staff, we run a calendar and it is time block. Not time block on some of our appointments, but a lot of it's just like calling. Like calling these people, calling these people, calling these people, calling these people. Make sense? So you need to time block your time. If you do not put it on your calendar, I can tell you this, you need to take your daily goal and put it on the calendar. How long will it take you to do that? If Matt's doing 5 contacts a day, honestly, if he's calling his database, it's probably going to take an hour and a half. If he's calling leads, it'll probably take an hour, right? So he needs to block that time on his calendar every day. Sticking to your calendar is the toughest thing. You want the most freedom though, all this, I can tell you this habit, after you get consistently lead generating, this is the next habit you need to do. I know. That means I run off my calendar. And you can tell my staff, I don't even know what I'm doing most days, I just run off my calendar. Like, because I've set up my calendar with my priorities, I already time block everything I need to do for the week. That it's already set. In fact, I already have time slots for appointments. So when my VA assistant sets appointments for me, she puts it in time slots I already pre-set up because I've already scheduled my day. Make sense? But that way I choose what I want every day. That means I choose if I need to go see if I want to go date night tonight with my wife and dinner and date, then I don't schedule a 4 o'clock appointment. I want to set it up and get home. Since I described those things there. Don't break the chain, check those boxes, that's the things. You wanna have it, remember, you gotta get a 60-day habit, check the boxes. It was even need to be concerned about. You need to develop a new faculty generation. Just do it. Don't overthink it, just do it, all 5 people, go into your command and all 5 people, go into your phone and all 5 people. Here it is. Do it and do it and do it. And once you start doing it, other issues are gonna come up and you're gonna start addressing those issues that are gonna come up, but you gotta do the activity first, check the boxes. And start getting 6,600 days on doing that, it's gonna start feeling like it's part of your life. I don't even have to think about it, I just do it, I do it. All right. 4 points, time blocking, build a bunker, store provisions, sweep your minds, and list support. This means if you're gonna do calls, do it in a non-distraction environment, create it up, wherever you have to do. Home, there's a lot of distraction, don't do it at home. If it's at work, then do what you need to do. Store provisions, sweep your minds. This is like who regularly bothers you? What regularly bothers you? Your phone. And list support. Tell people. I tell my staff, don't bother me at this time. And if someone wants to bother me, take care of it. List support. All right. So time blocks, we talked about that. And focus on key areas of my life. I want to put this forward a little out of time. I didn't want you to know, path to mastery is, you should, 3 minutes, follow path to mastery, move to EDP, live within accountability cycle. These are your keys that you want if you want high level success. What does path to mastery mean? You need to have a growth plan. You need to be reading books or listening to books. You need to understand that success leaves clues, and people generally leave their history and what they've learned. They usually write about it. And there are a lot of great books out there, and I can recommend books, but you really need to think about reading books. You need to do a growth plan. Most of my growth plan is reading a book a month. I'm trying to think about signing up as kind of group, accountability group, we read 2 books a week. Right, but you need to have a growth plan. You need to understand what that growth plan. So you need to make sure that it's about 10,000 hours. Our rule will be an expert. Yeah.
To get a book done in 1 month, how many minutes per se would you think it would be creating for you to?
Like I said, book done in a month, it takes about, if I'm reading it, about 30 minutes a day. If I'm listening to it, I can do it quicker. But if you want to make it quicker, if you're going to do it like at a high level, then listen to it. A lot of times you can listen to it and speed it up 2 to 3 times the normal speed, and you will go faster. If you do it, if you're doing an exercise that allows you to listen at the same time, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and listen to all your exercise. Right? You see how people magnify themselves. This is how you go faster. I'm exercising every day because that's part of my health. And now I'm also listening because I'm going to be an hour as I'm running. So I might as well listen to something while I'm running. Make sense? So you need to be E2P focused. If you're not E2P focused, that means you're not going to break students. You're not going to learn. You're not going to grow. You need to grow. If you're going to get bigger, you have to grow. And you grow by listening to what other people do. E2P. This is what's going to happen if you don't grow. You're going to have this. You're going to be entrepreneurial, and then you're going to feel some disappointment. You're going to hit a ceiling. I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I don't know. And then you're going to start doing resignation and saying, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm just not built.
Then you have to talk yourself out of those
And
negative.
then then you go to green pastures. That means either I change brokerage or change jobs, or something like that. And then it continues. And I can probably look at your life, even back in high school, and it probably looks a lot like this. Yeah, you laugh, yeah, you know. And the one thing is you're hitting your natural ceiling of achievement. Meaning your DNA, who you are, how you're built, the way you grew up, and your education and your experience and all that is making you hit this ceiling of achievement. Meaning you can't achieve success above this level because of who you are. The way you break through that is EDP, focus model system breakthrough. We talked about focus, right? We talked about how you focus, models and systems. We teach models and systems, and then you have breakthroughs. I can tell you this, I hit a ceiling, it was very frustrating, I told you about it, and the way I broke through is I went to this Kellen's class on how to build teams, and hire and fire and build teams well, and I went to it 3 times, it's a 2-day class, 3 times I went to it. In the same year, 3 times I went to it, 3 times, 2-day class, 6 days of this class. And then I went to my team leader at the time, I said, hey, I want to be on the ALC if I can, and I want to teach classes, because if I'm gonna be good at running a team, I gotta be able to lead. I gotta be able to lead. Okay. So I said, if I teach and I know how to teach at a high level in the team, is that gonna make me a better for my team? Yeah, absolutely. If I have influence with the agents in the office, that can make me have better leadership skills. Absolutely. Makes sense? So that's what I did, and then that happened. I made it better. And I took the systems and models that KW told me, and I implemented them with focus. Make sense? If you're feeling this, it's because you're not doing this. Just so you how to focus. We have every model system you want. We can talk to you all in another. All right. I know some of you are feeling this. Maybe you think of this. I know some of you. I know you are. And I'm just saying, and I don't care what color you are, I don't care how tall, short, pretty, ugly, man, woman, green, blue, white, I don't care. I've seen everyone be successful. Every type of person. I don't care, low educated, high educated, forward, I don't care. I've seen everyone be successful. It is equal opportunity. Equal opportunity. That's the beauty of it. You do it, doesn't matter who you are or where you started. Doesn't matter. What makes it hard is this. These things are things you can do and learn. These are choices.
Yeah, you're in.
This is choices you make daily. These are what you need to learn. We provide those things. So everything that's here at this brokerage for you to do this, but it's up to you. This is what you're gonna. So I just want to know that.
It's natural to feel those feelings though too, you just have to get through it.
Yeah, and I can tell you, every time, and it sounds horrible, but every time you grow and break through, you're gonna hit another mattress. And I found myself as a leader in this market center, every time I grow about 75 to 100 agents, I hit a ceiling. That means my leadership ability, what I have set up in models and systems, is not good enough to service more than that agent. And I start losing agents at the same amount I'm gaining agents, and it kind of sits there for a while. I can show you that for the last 6 months in our market center, we've stayed about at 250 to 260 agents consistent. That means the amount of agents, and I recruited 8, 10, 12, 15 agents every month, and I've lost that same amount of agents every month. And what did I realize is I gotta see it.
Now you have to figure out.
What the hell is going on? Maybe I suck as a team leader. Well, I'm telling myself, right? Maybe I should go do something. Maybe I should go back to my real estate team. We should go I'm good at that. Right? Keep in mind those things.
So what are you gonna do for that? You just make a new plan for how you break.
You know what it is? I'm gonna tell myself, you know what? I'm stupid. I'm hitting a natural ceiling. I know what to do. Yes. Then I told you, I was looking up, I was like, oh, TWI has this team leader thing, it's called 30-60-90. It's focused, right? But it's high accountability, 2 books and 20 contacts a day. It's like gold. I said, well, that can be focused. Well, that can be focused. High accountability, right? I'm already working on the model. I know what models and systems I need to fix, right? So those things are things that I focus on. Like, how do I get, okay, I need to get a better mindset now. I need to focus. So don't think this is not how I feel too. I go through it every day. I'm sure Anna, you felt this way at times, many times in the past.
This time last year, after quitting my full-time 23-year career in the salon industry, it's like I kept trying to like tell myself, Like, I was like being negative to my own self, and it took me half a year to like overcome that.
Right, like, so literally, you were.
I was so scared. And that, and I really was,
It's like, I'm just gonna do this.
yeah.
You know, like, it's not my salon, like, holy, like, you were scared.
Mindset out of that, to actually start doing what I
And then,
needed to be doing. Because I had all the time and then I didn't know what to do with it.
yeah, it's only, it was easier to do it because it'd be like a part-time, so I just did only what I needed to do, and I sit down and did all work, and now I have full time.
Exactly.
And then she got lost, right? And now she's like, oh, I need to organize my day. I need more focus on my day. I need to organize my day. I need multiple systems. I need to make my calendar right. I need to farm. This is how I'm gonna farm, right? And this is how I wanted to need systems and models, right?
And as much as I want to say it's like old to me, I like hate it, but at the same time, I love it. Because it pushed me, and that is what got me out of the negative mindset.
Exactly. Everyone feeling it? Alright. So I know you're thinking this, and the market may even make you think this way, but it's not about the market, it's about you. And then remember, E2P is not your business, it's you. This is you. Remember, everything that needs to happen, that needs to be fixed in your business is you. How you think about it, your focus, your mindset, your model. And I hate to say that because that means it really is you and that sucks. But that's okay, you can make it better. Good part is make it better. So. Okay, before a little quick, but I wanted to know if you need accountability. This is a struggle. Most accountability can come from a mentor, a coach, or high performance coach, right? If you are struggling with your own personal accountability, we are going to set that up for you. Our career development committee is making an accounting group that will happen throughout this year. You will run it. First of all, is run your business life with a singular purpose. Whatever you decide, you tell us what you want. That's what we will do. We will require things, 401s updated weekly and monthly. Weekly meetings, and you will report numbers weekly to your peers. Your peers will see you said you were going to do this. Did you do it? And everyone in that group will see what you did or didn't do. We're going to have instruction, role play on scripts, lead gen, lead follow-up. How to convert people in this market? Where are you struggling? Where are you struggling in your lead generation techniques? Where are you struggling? How can you make that better? How to get this to the next level? How do I go from a level 5 open house to level 6 open? Right? All right. Monthly reading accountability. We're going to make it grow. You're going to have to read. High accountability goals. We're going to hold you to your goals. We say, you said you wanted this. You said you wanted it. In fact, we're going to make you go talk to your significant others, your mom, your spouse, whatever, and say, you tell them what they're going to do. We want you to tell them. And we want you every week to go back and tell them this. Yeah, you should go tell your spouse that I'm gonna, or like someone say, I'm gonna make you this much money this year. I'm gonna bring this much money to the family this year. Oh, myself. Possible lead referrals in the future. So we're gonna make this group where we can get leads coming into the group. But I don't want to give leads to people that are not accountable. We actually did a lead program where we just put people in, and guess what? We gave them leads, but they didn't call them.
Can I get something?
Yeah.
So if you do this, then we will reward you with leads. But I gotta see this first in your personal life. What I found is if you don't have the habits in your own business, you're not gonna do good habits with others. It just doesn't matter. You can fail out of this group. We're gonna have a three strike rule. You fail out. That means sorry. We love you. You can't. You're honestly not at a point where you can make this. You can make this good for your life right now. And then what is not coaching. We're not talking about contracts. We're not talking about appointments. We're going to focus on achieving goals and master skills, habits, and systems you need for success. That's what we're going to focus on. So we're not filling a gap that coaching is, but what we're going to do is focus on your goals and success.
And we still haven't decided who's even running these.
Yes, it's free to you. This is provided free. The ALC. It'll be starting Monday, January 6th. Details will be announced at the team meeting, which is next week. Next week, Wednesday. So this group is, I will say it will be a weekly meeting, required attendance. I think we're talking first 3 weeks of them, or first week is live in person. I think the other 3 weeks are advised. But you would be required to attend and to report your numbers. They're not team meetings, those will be separate. Strictly on the accountability group. Has anyone ever been in a high accountability environment? Bold.
Yeah.
Bold is an example of a high accountability environment. The idea is to live in a world that is high accountability. Make sense? So I'm trying to give you the bold experience, not actually bold. All right. Any questions? Aha. Yes, all right.
You have some time to do your first aid.
Yes.
On the 3 strike count,
Mhm.
what are those 3 like strikes in the way?
You don't have to these.
Okay.
Like, hey. Well, we'll have some dispute that. You missed 2 sessions this month. That's a violation of the rules of this accountability group. Strike 1.
Are there ways to redeem your fouls like, hold?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. You should do
So
it.
you also, if you.
Yeah, redeem a strike. Yeah, I like that. Hold 100.
We're gonna provide with the book, so we could read any book we want.
Well, the books.
Yeah, or like a certain number of pages.
We're going to dictate this. We're gonna dictate this. We say, this is the book, you can buy it, or you can read it online. We recommend you get an awful account. I would like to, right now I have it a month, I would like to get it to you. But we really want this group to take a life of its own, so if you guys want to, at a certain point, we're gonna say, if you want to take the book, you just recommend that book, and if everyone agrees. Questions, ahas, other questions or ahas? All right, what'd you learn? What's one thing you learned? One thing.
I just like how you helped me break it down, because even though I know what I'm doing and I have this system to do it, I still didn't even realize necessarily why I was doing it. So you talking it out helped me figure that out. More clarity. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Creating a plan is key.
Creating a plan. All right, so those dramatically affected by this. Matt, what's the one thing you learned today? Oh, that's good. Recognition, this is one.
Time about your schedule and instead of doing it to do it.
Yeah, I do successfully. That's big. That's a habit, right? Like, I'm gonna stop checking boxes. And I'm gonna do things that are important. Part.
How to take over your own life.
Oh, that's good. I tell you, when you're young, I can tell you what. If you figure this out,
God.
if you figure this out at this age, you'll be retired.
Ooh, seriously, and I just know that.
If you can figure this out, by
Your life's gonna be
by
set.
25, you'll be set. You'll be done by 35.
It's true.
You'll be done.
It's true.
This is what
You
everyone,
guys-
all,
this is being,
yeah, so if you can embrace this at a high level and just, I remember when I was young, I had a high needle. The good part about this business, it tells you how you're not all that, right? The good part of this, it tells you real life, you thought you're all that, but you're really not, right? Those are all checklists, but if you learn these things, that will change your life. It will change dramatically. And the good part is, if you're young enough, you'll have a lot of energy to go work a lot of hours.
Hello, John.
My age, you have limited, you don't have as much energy to make a big investment.
38 with a full-time job, now I'm 42 with my only job, it's time.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Fast track.
Who calling? Okay.
John, it's me,
Yes.
Jose.
Yeah, what did you learn?
My aha is the fact and the importance of understanding how to set goals that are specific, measurable, and achievable. That's
Yes.
my aha.
Yeah. Remember, a lot of us make very goals, make smart goals, measured. Right, reasonable, in a time period, time deadline, that's important, right? Specific, it has to be measurable, right? That I can say you did it or you didn't do it. As a measurable, right? So, excellent. Anyone else? All right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your 2 hours of life with me. I know how valuable and time it is. If you want any follow-up, I'm happy to do that to help you. If you have unclarity about your purpose or goals or things like that, I'm happy to sit down with you and kind of flesh that out with you. But it's really going to be asking you a lot of questions that you may not feel comfortable answering. So just be aware of that. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank you.